I'm Carlos from Jovem Nerd from Brazil.
Cool.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon there.
Hola.
Look at the background.
We gotta get some Dune stuff in the background. We gotta get some Dune.
Oh yeah,
I see Spider-Man. I see Spider-Man.
Hey.
Spider-Man.
I like that.
May I say I love the movie?
Yes, you can say that. Unfortunately, I cannot say that. It has to come. The other people can say what they want.
I'm a huge fan from the books. I read them as a 14 years old. And I always saw everybody saying that Dune cannot be done, that it's too difficult to adapt. Now seeing the movie, I may say I saw Dune. I see the essence of the book.
What you said about the fact that you recognize elements of the book, that you felt that there's something faithful to the book, that you feel the love for the book. That for me is the best compliment I can get.
The opportunity to work with Denis, this amazing cast of characters, to work on source material that, like yourself and for Denis, was so formative for a lot of people. That's a dream come true. It's a certain pressure to get it right, you know?
You guys just nailed it. It was amazing.
Yes.
It was amazing. Frank Herbert, he envisioned the world of Dune in the 60s and extrapolated his political view of what might be this dystopian future. Now, more than 50 years later, do you both think we are getting further apart or closer to that vision?
What do you think?
Yeah.
Look around.
Yeah, we're not living in good times. This is not good times. I never thought that in my lifetime I would see things this bad.
I think, unfortunately, we haven't changed much. We are creating the same vicious cycle of greed, lack of compassion, abuse, and destruction. We survive because of the empathy of many others and the sacrifice that they do. I don't know, that's very pessimistic.
That's as beautifully put as you.
No,
Seriously.
I don't know, but what I mean is, that's why it's relevant to make this movie that it was written in the 60s today, starting with the environmental aspect of it all.
I think that is also what makes this role so wonderfully difficult and layered.
I feel like this movie resonates exactly the way it should. And his inspiration in the 60s is definitely, we're going through it.
There was as much divisiveness then as there is now, if not more now. And I think that's what's so great about movies, is you're able to take a step back and look at yourselves and hopefully get into solutions. Okay, this is a metaphor of us. Maybe we should actually be active in doing something differently.
Do you see that now we're living the moment that now we can achieve real change in the world?
Absolutely. There's often this feeling of doom, right? Like this inherited, we came into this world, we didn't create it, we're stuck with all these issues, and it can always almost feel like suffocating and that there is no hope. But I think what I do appreciate often is so many of my peers going out there, doing the work and being the change that they want to create. Almost that fear, right, to then drive them to be the forces of change. And hope seems to be few and far between in so many ways. So anytime that we can hold on to that, or the idea that there is something to fight for, when I see my peers just working and doing beautiful work in the world, and they kind of inspire me to want to do more myself. So, that's not to ignore the fact that it's hard, and it does feel not so great all the time. It doesn't feel as optimistic, or quick enough.
Oscar, a tough question. How was for you to shave that magnificent beard?
I cried. No, it actually...
You have a beard.
I had a beard in the movie, actually. Yeah. It's a pretty world-renowned beard, I gotta say. So we did it. I shaved it. I had to do Paul Schrader's film where I was clean shaven. And then we had to do reshoots. But because of all the COVID, they kept getting pushed. And I kept trying to line it up because I had grown the beard during COVID again. Do the reshoots. This is such a boring story about beards.
It's quite boring.
It's really boring, and I'm going to keep going.
And
I'm
the thing is,
down.
you know that there's going to become your 4-minute interview.
This is just about my beard.
I realize that.
Anyway, and then the crazy thing is, I had to grow as much as I could, and then they put some fake beard on me. For some of the movie, I have a fake beard, and some of it I have a real beard.
I'd like to talk about his pubes.
You don't remember how big my beard was?
I can't remember your beard, I'm sorry.
Somewhat to what Frank Herbert said about charismatic politicians and the power they have on those that blindly follow them. Dune brings this fear of a charismatic, religious, powerful individual. Do you believe that today this fear is more real than ever?
It's always been there. I mean, Hitler, Mussolini, they were charismatic leaders, and when people ask for strong leaders, you should really be wary and careful, because strong leaders, if strength is what you're looking for, then you're looking for the wrong thing. What you should look for is compassion, humanity, and tolerance in a leader.
Agreed. It's easy to be sucked into a culture. It's easy to be sucked into a dogma. It's easy to be sucked into religion because it doesn't have to do with individuality. And I think what Paul goes through is this like adolescence into maturity, being an individual, which is tough, which is always tough because you'll be judged, you'll be challenged. That's the tough part. If you just do what everybody else is doing, it's easy, it's lazy.
Well, I've never had any leader I've ever trusted, so I would never want to be that level of leader either. So it's one of those things where you go, have you followed a leader that's your trust in? I just haven't experienced in my short time on this planet.
It talks about fanatism. It talks about what religious beliefs can do with people's fate and unconsciousness. Religion can motivate people to do things beyond the logic.
You know, we're digressing as a civilization. I may be biased, but particularly in the United States, it's just.
And in Brazil, they got Bolsonaro, who is, I mean, they got their own Harkonnen running the show.
A big problem to resolve.
Yeah, it's global. It is. It's bad. I mean, you know, in a lot of ways, digressing, especially in the way that we're taking care of our planet, it's not good.
This is the opposite of Rabban's speech. Do you think Rabban is one of these wannabe dictators?
Oh yeah, most definitely. He's absolutely, you know, one of these evil people that we speak about. He's well, I don't know how charismatic Rabban is, but he is definitely, you know, of that lineage of people that, you know, we don't want in charge. They have nothing. They have no good intentions. They're driven by greed and power.
I don't know why I feel like a house leader and a messiah kind of go hand in hand.
One is a spiritual thing and the other one is so worldly. But I think that that's kind of also part of the point of what the Bene Gesserit have been doing in particular, which is trying to bridge the gap between the two.
Well done.
You know, like evolve humanity into consciousness, consciousness,
to where the two things are not so, and space.
Exactly. So yeah, that's exactly the quest. Maybe it's impossible though.
I don't know. Is it though? We'll see.
We'll see in chapter 2. Another way.
I say one of the most difficult parts to adapt it from the books is the thoughts, the narrative inside everyone's head. In the movie, you translate that in a few exposition scenes and in the acting. How difficult was to do that?
That for me, it was not the difficult part. It was more the to make sure that the hardcore fans of the book will still feel the inner conflict of the characters or strategies, not using voiceover, and that the people don't know the book will still feel welcome and embark into the journey. It was a decision I made right from the start that we will not go with voiceovers and I will rely on acting. That's the fun. I mean, that's for me, that was the fun part, you know, that to try to bring the actors and to try to create meaning without saying words. It's cinema. And Hans, I had the best discussion about the book. Were with Hans Zimmer and what we wanted to put up front and what the music could bring to the movie. And this idea that the power of music to inform us of the inner thoughts and the inner feelings and of the character. That was a very powerful tool for me.
And the sets that were so dark and ominous, it almost, when you walked onto set, you almost just felt a sense of, you know, that you were already there. It was very easy to be immersed into this because it felt ominous and dangerous and evil. It was very, very easy. And then with Denis directing you, it couldn't have been more easy. This is a performer's dream, I think.
No outro trailer, ele aparece em outro lugar, sem capacete, falando, "Hey, my boy!" E aí agora ele tá de novo falando, "My boy!"
Eu acho que ele fala my boy o tempo inteiro.
É a catchphrase do Momoa, cara.
You call Timothy my boy multiple times in the movie.
I generally don't use things from my own personal life, but I say that to my son Wolf all the time, and so I wanted to. I feel like, but I wanted to have these moments where I go like this. That's to my son. He does Collie, and so we put Collie in the movie, and that's symbols to him. To honor my own child. So, it's an amazing book that I'm excited for my son to read in a couple of years.
It's a book that I love since 40 years. It's one of my favorite book, if not my favorite. So it's something that stay close to me all these years. I didn't want to fuck it up. I wanted to take care of the book. And so when someone like you, who love the book as I do, say things like that, it's big comfort for me. Thank you.
I thank you for your enthusiasm, but generally, I feel like we can be proud of ourselves.
You can be. You guys can be.